Please help me welcome the urban planning team to the stage. Hello. You already know me. My name is Nada. These are my colleagues, Lama, Ragas, and Muhammad. We will be taking you through the sustainable urban planning development of the Scandinavian countries that we have visited and moving it all to you. Before we start, I would like to take you through the presentation content. First up, my colleague Lama will take you through the Oslo Waterfront. Then she will be giving the stage to Ragas, where she will talk to you through the exceptional idea of sharing resources in the Balkan urban development in Oslo. Then I will be talking to you about the stunning seaport waterfront in Stockholm. Then I'll hand it over the mic to Muhammad to brief you about one-of-the-kind eco-city. Then he will take it over to Ragas, where she will talk to you through the green roofs and urban farming of the Scandinavian countries. Then Muhammad will give you the experience of the social sustainability from the honey and green furniture. Then finally, my colleague Lama will conclude it all for you for the recommendation of the urban planning developments in the Scandinavian countries and how it will be taken to the UAE. First up, Lama.
Waterfront. The vision was integrated and effective use of land, good urban spaces, and clean quality. The vision was integrated and effective use of land, good urban spaces, clear quality standards, and the design of the comprehensive development. The future city plan strategy, sustainable strategy for redevelopment, Oslo Port area. The two main goals was to create a better connection between the city and the fjord area, which is the port, and to have a diverse use of land function and land use, such as commercial, industrial, residential, and recreational areas. As you see here is the final master plan for the project, which is contained of 21 points, diverse in land use, as I mentioned before, the residential, the culture, and the open space to enhance the sustainable project and to make it rich. Each sustainable projects need to take into consideration the environmental, economical, and social aspect. Here, the environmental aspect was to create an attractive public space that are interactive, inclusive, and accessible for everyone. A framework for future development between the public and private sector collaboration. The priority in this project was for the pedestrian, bicycle lane, and for the public transport. Finally, they want to improve the energy efficiency through the building facade and to reduce the CO2 emissions. For the culture and architectural aspect, they take into consideration the functional diversity was intended in this project for two reasons: for interconnected and vibrant places. The variety of cultural activities among the port was to support the social activities, and finally to ensure the permanence of the historical and cultural building and structure. Now my friend Ragas will take you up to the next project.
Thank you, Lama. So the next project we're going to talk about is Balkan, which is also known as Oslo Sustainable Urban Development Project. So of course it is located in Oslo, Norway. And actually the area of this project has been transformed from industrial area to to a mixed-use functionality area, and it is based on the idea of sharing for both resources and land in such a dense and built functional area that makes it virtually self-sufficient when it comes to energy for heating and cooling. So as we mentioned, that this area has been revitalized from industrial areas since 2004, and this actually emphasizes their concept that the heritage of architecture has to be reused rather than conserved. Now speaking about the main elements of development in this project, and actually the concentration was basically on the cultural and social aspects. Here we can see Oslo School of Art, Communication and Technology, and we can see where it is located in the overall plan. Bellona House, where Bellona Organization is, and Bellona Organization is a non-profit organization that aims to fight the climate changes. Maktoum in Oslo, which is also known as the market space, where there are plenty of cafes, restaurants, and a lot of the food annual events will take place there. Vulcan Arena, where all the concerts, events, and conferences will be held. And finally, the Scandic Vulcan Hotel, which is one of a kind hotel. It is based on innovation and environment, and it has been classified as the first energy class A hotel in Norway. So these are the basic elements, besides, of course, all the residential and commercial parts. As for the environmental aspects in this project, we have the beehives that are located within the urban spaces, showing the interaction between humans, animals, plants, and insects. The roof gardens and terraces that are located within the residential blocks. And geothermal wells, we can see it here in the picture where it is located in the basement of this area, and they are providing heating and cooling for all the blocks, and they can also recycle the heat waste that coming from these buildings. The inner traffic and mobility, which is based on walking and biking, and walking and biking will be encouraged through good connections and signage system, and finally the use of durable and high quality materials. As for the sharing approach and mixed functionality, we have the Hertz carpool, which we can see it here in the picture, in which they can provide electrical vehicles for the residents, for the area. The space sharing, and a good example that we saw there is the sharing of a dining space that is located in the Scandic Hotel, and this dining space will be used by the residents of the hotel during their morning breakfast and by the workers during their lunch break. And finally, we have the Spice Garden, which is located in the roof garden, in which it will be used for cultivation by the restaurants that are located in the same buildings. Now, my colleague Nada will continue from here.
The Stockholm Waterfront. Let me take you through the future plans. They have three visions. The first one is building 12,000 new homes and 35,000 new workshops, which is pretty massive. Enhanced biodiversity and integrating eco-cycle system for water, waste, and energy to reduce those resources. This is a very interesting view, beautiful green of Oslo Seaport, as you can see. Objectives. In any design, there are so many objectives. We've taken the main ones to demo for you. Higher proportion of waste in eco-cycle system. Balancing between the ease of walking and the efficient public transport. Attractive parks and public places. Preservation of cultural historical heritage, which to be respected and admired. As for the environmental approaches, they had two strategies. The first one is the stormwater management and the green index. The stormwater management is where they collect the rain on the streets, they store it, and then they feed the trees with it later. The second one is the green index. The plan was to spread it all over the place. As for the energy, they use solar cells, which is a very positive because it comes from renewable energy. Lastly, eco-cycle. They had also three methods. The VDS, which is the vacuum disposal system. They had a recycling center, and they encouraged the use of plastic and metal. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Mohammed.
So, similar to whatever was implemented in the Vulcan area, we have the Eco City at Malmo. The concept was to
transformed from an industrial area to an area of knowledge and sustainable living. The aim of the sustainable society is to produce, recycle, and reuse the minimum aspects of the circulation. We focus mostly in this area into two aspects of sustainability: social sustainability and the environmental sustainability. And first of all, the social sustainability, the area had a good way to improve the social aspects, in creating parks, landscaping areas, and even the skate parks which are located in the city center. Ecological playgrounds were placed also to involve the students to be educated and involved into having better innovative ideas. And one more point regarding the social sustainability, in which the developers, the homeowners, and even the citizens were required to take part in designing the area itself from day one from scratch. The concept till so it's a really good idea. And moving to the other part, which was the green dome. It was a green part that was placed for elderly people at the city center of the area, and the plantation and vegetation was all year round at that time. When temperature reached during summer 20 and during winter -20, the space was green every time, and it was specified for elderly people. And one of the people who passed this side told me that we call it the dome of wisdom. And what was that? All people who sit there and different generations to contact those cultures to enhance the social sustainability between the generations. Moving to the environmental aspect, as you guys see, we have the photovoltaic panels here. But what's really interesting in this area that we have the carpool shades in which people can drive their own cars and charge the cars for free of charge, because we have their own photovoltaic panels. And more than that, apartments are equipped with waste grinders with the kitchen sinks, so everything is transformed. And more than that, and under each building, there's a type of sorting the material, the basement or wherever. They have the recycled, reused, and biogas material that they should extract to send it to the community. Moving to the urbanism, they really good implementation of storing water, stormwater system, in which they decrease the load on the water available infrastructure in the area through running water canals and bound before reaching to the sewage system. And when they found that right, as we show you next picture, they are refilled again with water so that it stays and protect the ecosystem in the area. More than that, also there we saw lots of bicycles in that area. It was really interesting that most of the people do drive bike, because everything is biking distance. When we go to any area, it's mentioned like 5 minutes by bike or 2 minutes by bike, and that was really interesting. More than that, they have the bus was given a really high priorities for and by the way, there was a really interesting point that all the buses there was running through natural gas and biogas. And as you see here, those are the water pumps. When we were in that area, it was like just normal water, which was the concept is to add humidity in the weather when the street was really cold. And during summer they create those vegetation just to enhance the green area that's moving to the architecture. As you see, this is Santiago Catrava's building. It's the tallest building in Scandinavia, and he's doing also the tallest building in Dubai, I think, also in the world. And the concept and the idea was most of the buildings were based on high dense, low dense, and medium dense areas, as we can see in this area. What's inside the city, it was like G+1, G+2 maximum height, commercial areas and residential housing villas. And at the edge was the coastal zone. They placed the high buildings G+6 and G+7 to block the wind to pass through the city itself during some winter when it's really cold. So I moved to speak this to Alrostomani.
Thank you, Mohammed. Now we're going to move to more detailed urban development projects like the Gothenburg Botanical Roof Gardens. And actually it is considered to be part of the eco-city. And they are the world's first botanical roof gardens. They are situated within a residential neighborhood with an area of 9,500 on the top of the industrial buildings. They were created for demonstration and research purposes to test some engineered soils, various plants, and the water runoff. So why having botanical roof gardens? They have found several benefits of having them. First, to create biodiverse roofs. Second, they have found that the roof gardens can actually increase the production levels of the solar energy as they can cool down the solar panels. A stormwater solution, as the excessive use of the roof gardens can retain about 50% of the stormwater precipitation. And finally, roof membrane protection, because the roof gardens can reduce the UV radiations on the roofs. One of the remarkable ideas that we saw in Stockholm was the urban farming idea, and it was enhanced and developed by the citizens of Stockholm, in which they can have small urban farming plots and they just can grow their own crops and plants. And while growing these plants, they can promote some ecological farming techniques, and they can try new methods of farming like the vertical farming or the walls farming. And here we can see different applications of the urban farming in 3 different spots in Stockholm, in which they can have it just within the residential areas, they can have it for school children, in which school children can grow their own crops, and they just can make a use of a local gathering space like this one, which is just beside the playground, and they can add some kind of social activity and urban planning applications to it. Now, Mohammed?
So even we went really in depth from the urban farming to the bee production in the urban fabric. One interesting thing regarding the bee production, which is they bring the honey bees in the city itself. As you see, one of the guys there told us that the whole bunch of the honey that was produced was from the city, and he said that was from the airport, and other part was from different parts of metro station, and it was really interesting that the city itself does produce a lot of different types of honey. One interesting lecture I gave last week to a couple of students, it was about, I told them, what's the relationship between the bee cell and the urban planning? One of the students said, okay, it was the same shape, they have the grid form, and even when we live in that grid form system. It was an interesting answer from him. While other students raised his hand, he said, no, there's other relationship, the social relationship between the bee, the queen, the workers, and the whole community. It was really interesting that the whole community does achieve the social sustainability, and social sustainability is really important, and that should be really implemented here in Dubai. And the concept that they produced was the My City, My Bee, which they gave the priority for students to understand how the bee does work and how do they socialize and how does it help the community in terms of production of the honey itself or just the pollination. And it was really interesting too. So we moved to the green furniture. We had really 2 types of furniture that was produced there in the factory. The recycled chairs, as you see here. They also do share a good example of the social sustainability, which it was created so that people can socialize, can meet. It wasn't like moving straight, people can sit together, discuss stuff. So it was really interesting in creating those designs. At the same time, the designs were really flexible. It was presented in the metro stations, and even when we came back to Dubai, we saw it in the airports also. So it was really interesting. Moving to the acoustic, and they created a really great concept in which concepts together, the acoustics and the lights. Through using the recycled materials, they use the, as you see, 3 fans to place the structure, and at the same time, they use the wood to absorb the sound from the acoustic system. And just to conclude our
back to UAE after such a great experience, we came out of those recommendations covering the 3 aspects of sustainability: the social, economical, and environmental. For the social aspects, most of urban development projects there covering the sharing resource and land concept, which gives the opportunity for everyone to share the space and the resource. Then engage the public participation in cities planning and decision. Enhancing the street furniture, as my colleague Mohammed mentioned, will improve the social activities in the street. And finally, effective social activities with a sustainable impact. For the economical impact, recommendation, we advise for the mixed-use urban planning, invest the local sustainable resource, as here in UAE, the solar energy, reuse of historical and industrial building instead of conserving them, and support sustainable local ideas that will influence on the community. Finally, the environmental aspects. Carpool system cover most of the Scandinavia area. Energy ecocycle concept, efficient waste management system from the early level in the planning, and finally, the priority was given to the public transportation. Thank you for your listening, and we are welcome for any question.